Welcome back to my animal education series. Today I'm here at the Indianapolis Zoo and I got some walruses behind me. So as some of you guys may remember, a little bit over 3 years ago I did a video here with Lisa, who's an animal keeper, to talk about the walruses. And I've gotten a lot more viewers and a lot more subscribers since then, so I want to do a recap video on the walruses. Walruses are super interesting animals, with obviously their predominant feature being their large tusks, but I'll get to that in a second. So these guys can be found in regions of the Arctic, and there are two different subspecies of walruses. They are the Pacific and the Atlantic walruses. And these guys are the second largest pinniped. That's a family of seals and other animals like that. So besides the elephant seal, these guys are the second largest of them. Some of the larger males can get up to 4,000 pounds or 2 tons. But typically they'll stay around about 1,800 to 3,500 pounds. Now some of you may be wondering how these walruses with very little hair stay warm in the below freezing temperatures. Well, they have a really thick layer of fat called blubber. This blubber helps insulate them, and they can live comfortably in temperatures up there in the Arctic. And right now it is currently 32 or 33 degrees, and that water is not heated, or it might be heated to the point where it doesn't freeze, but they are doing just fine in there, and they're having a blast playing around with some of their toys. But both the male and the female walruses will have tusks, which, as I mentioned before, is the most predominant feature besides their sheer size. So these tusks can get up to 3 feet long as adults. It can weigh up to 12 pounds, which is a really heavy tooth because these tusks are really just enlarged canines. As I mentioned before, both the male and the females will have these tusks, but only the males will use them for fighting. These walruses will reach sexual maturity around 7 years for a male or 4 to 6 years for a female. But even though a male will reach sexual maturity in 7 years, he typically won't breed till he's 15 or 16 years old because he has to establish dominance. As I mentioned before, both the male and the female walruses will have these large tusks. And besides just fighting with the males, they also have a very practical use. It helps them find food on the ocean floor. Typically they will stay in shallower areas of the ocean to about 80 feet or so, and they'll use these tusks and drag them along the ocean floor to pick up mollusks, other invertebrates such as shrimp and sea cucumbers and other critters like that. That is the main staple of their diet. They will also use their tusks and their large bodies to help keep holes open in the ice so that they can easily get in and out of the water. Due to their large size, walruses don't typically have any natural predators. They do have other animals like orcas and polar bears, which will take them down on occasion, but due to such their large size, it's not a super common occurrence. According to the IUCN, these animals are listed as data deficient, which means that there's not enough known about the wild populations of these animals to really know if they're doing well or if they're getting closer to being threatened. So hopefully in the next couple of years, maybe some stuff will come out and we can really see how much help these animals might need. Now let's actually talk about the two animals that are in this enclosure behind me. We have Aku and then we have Ginger. Aku is the larger one of the two, so in some of the B-roll and here behind me, the definitely larger of the two is Aku, and the smaller one is Ginger, which is the female. So Aku was separated from his mother in some way or the other, and then he was brought here as part of the SSP program to breed in the future. When I did my video here 3 years ago, he was not quite old enough to breed, and honestly I'm still not quite sure if he is old enough, but that definitely is in the plans for these two. So hopefully in the next couple of years these guys can get to the breeding program and get some more walruses out there into the world. Actually, a cool fact about Aku is that his name means stern of ship in the native Inupiaq language from Alaska. I just think it's pretty neat that they took the native Alaskan language and brought it to this animal. Now let's talk about Ginger for a quick second here. So Ginger was born at SeaWorld Orlando and then brought here for the same purpose as Aku, for the SSP breeding program, to hopefully make some more walruses in the future. But let's take a second to acknowledge the enclosure that they're in as well, because it's equally as important as the animal inside of it. So they have plenty of area to swim. Obviously they are a more aquatic animal, so plenty of swimming space is very important. They have plenty of area to go up on the land and dry out if they so desired. Next up is the two different viewing areas for this enclosure. So they have the above water one right here, and then they have the underwater viewing area down over there. And the female walrus, Ginger, was very interested in us when we were filming, which gave us plenty of B-roll and a lot of close-up view of that walrus, which definitely helps look at their tusks and their whiskers and everything really close up about the animal that we can't really get from up here. But up here gives us a nice view of the entire enclosure, and I think that's really cool because you see them swimming on their backs. I don't know exactly why they swim on their back, but it just looks kind of funny. And they also have this big net on top of the enclosure which prevents a bunch of birds going in there from stealing some of their food and just messing with the walruses themselves. And I do apologize if the video was a bit choppy at times. Again, I'm in a public zoo, and I want to make sure I'm following proper social distancing protocols and wearing my mask when other people are around. So every time I see people coming up this ramp over here to my left or coming from behind my father, then we just cut off the camera so we can make sure we're being safe and everything, because obviously I don't have a mask on and I don't want to put anyone else in danger when I'm filming these videos. But thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. Don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below, subscribe to my channel, and as always, I will see you next week.